started. I haven't done one of these for a while, so bear with me if I have any technical glitches along the way. My computer's got gremlins in it as well, which isn't helping. So today I'm just going to quickly talk about referencing for assignments using the APA 6th edition, which is, I believe it's the American Psychiatrists Association that has put it out. Anyway, it's the preferred form of referencing for assignments if you're studying with ACNT. All right, so I'm just going to go to screen share so you can see what I'm looking at. Stand by. Okay. All right, here we go. Okay, so hopefully you can see my screen here. All right, referencing in a nutshell. Now, this is all basically just an excerpt from this document here, the Health and Wellness Faculty Academic Writing Guide. So everybody at ACNT has access to this, and it's like 30 odd pages of how to reference, and it covers everything. So if you're ever stuck, this is where you want to go and have a look. Anyway, it's pretty much the same sort of things that you're always doing. It's basically books, journal articles, and websites. So they're the ones that I'm going to concentrate on today. So we're back here. I will post, once I figure out how, I will post a copy of this document here that I've made up so that you can see it, so don't feel like you've got to scribble everything down as we go. All right, so we'll start with books. So the easiest one is a book with one author. So for this particular example, I've used my all-time favourite, Clinical Naturopathic Medicine by Leah Hechtman. So basically the format, the thing with referencing is it's actually quite straightforward. There's just a few simple rules, and if you make up a little template and follow that, you'll be right every time. So with a book, it's basically your author, the year, the title, the place, and the publisher. And that's it. So this is for the part that goes in your reference list or your bibliography at the end. So when you're putting the author in, you start with their surname, and then you put a comma, and then any initials that they've given, and then each initial followed by a full stop. So in this particular example, the author on the book, it's got Leah Hechtman. So the only initial you know is L. So it's Hechtman, comma, space, capital L, full stop. And that's how you enter the author. If, for example, they'd given their middle initial, say it was for, I don't know what her middle initial is, but we'll just say for the purpose of the argument, it was a K, something starting with K. The way you would enter it would be Hechtman, comma, space, L, full stop, space, K, full stop. Okay, so after that full stop, after the initial for your author, you need a space, and then you open your parentheses or your brackets, and you put in the year that it was published. So you want your year in brackets and then followed by a full stop. So after the full stop, following the year, you have two spaces, and then you put the title. Now the title needs to be in italics. With regards to capitalisation, I just do it as they have. So if they've got every word capitalised on the cover, then you capitalise every word. If they don't, then you don't. But just remember, title has to be in italics. Then you put another full stop and another two spaces, and then you put where it was published, followed by a semicolon, and then who the publisher is, followed by a full stop. So you can see on this document here, I've put the example, and then I've just sort of put a quick format or template here. So that's how you're going to have it listed in your reference list or your bibliography at the end of your assignment. Now, when it comes to in-text referencing, this is where sometimes it can get confusing, but again, it's really straightforward. It's just the author's surname, comma, the year, comma, and the pages. That's it. Author, year, pages in brackets. Nice and straightforward. Okay, so moving on. If we have two authors, as we can see in this example here with the Braun and Cohen book, Herbs and Natural Supplements, another one of my favourites. Again, it's the same format, but you're just adding in an extra author. So the authors are always surname, comma, initial, full stop. So we've got our first author, Braun, comma, L, full stop. And then you use the little and symbol. I know it's got a special name, but I don't know what it is. And then you put your second author. And then it just continues on exactly the same as it does if there was one. So you have your year in brackets, full stop, then your title in italics, full stop, where it was published, semicolon, and then who the publisher is. Is that a semicolon or a colon? Semicolon. I'm probably wrong. Anyway, the one with the two dots, not the dot and comma, the two dots. Yeah, and so then for in-text reference, you use, again, it's just the surname, then the year, then the page. So you have the two authors' surnames, the year, and the page. So Braun and Cohen, comma, 2010, comma, page 120. Now, you might have noticed in the first one, it's got PP, and in the second, it's only got P. That's because when it's only one page, you just use a single P. If it's more than one page, use PP. So one P is like page and two Ps is like pages. All right, so then we get to three authors. This is where it can get a little bit tricky. So basically you're still following exactly the same format. So you've got all your authors and you just put author, comma, next author, comma, next author, comma, and then you just put the little and doodle-acca before the very last author. So in this case, we've got three authors. So you can see it's the first one's surname, comma, initial, full stop, comma. And you've got the second one, surname, comma, initial, full stop. And then because you've got the little and sign, you don't need a comma there. Okay, so that, and then the rest of it's just the same as with the others with regards to the year in brackets, title in italics, place and publisher. Now, when it comes to in-text referencing, sorry, this is split over 2 pages for this example. This is where you really have to pay attention. The first time you reference this particular book in your assignment or your article or whatever you're writing, the first time you do your in-text reference, you must include all of the authors, okay, in your in-text reference. So like we did with the two, you just list their surnames, surname, comma, surname, comma, surname, comma, as many as you have, and then you just use a little and sign before the last one, comma, year, comma, and then your pages. Now, the second time you refer to them and any subsequent times, you only use the first author and then you use et al. So in this case, you've got Pizzorno is the first author, and you always put the authors' names in the same order that they are, that they're given on the book or the journal or whatever it is that you're taking it from. So in this case, it's Pizzorno. So we've got Pizzorno, and then there's no commas or anything. It's just Pizzorno, space. Then you have your lowercase et, full stop, space, lowercase al, full stop, and then a comma, and then the year, comma, and then your page. So that's how you do your in-text referencing when you have 3 or more authors. So if you've got 10 authors, it's exactly the same format. All right, so now we'll move on to websites. Now I'm going to start with NPOD because you'll use this particular website in virtually nearly all of them. So all your case studies will use this, and lots of other assignments will too. And there's also a really interesting thing that I want to show you that this forms a really good example of. So with websites, oh, I haven't written what my okay, I'll do that in a minute. But basically for NPOD, you just start with Naturopathic Product Database, Proprietary Limited, the year, and then you have the name of the supplement you're referring to in italics. So that's like the title of your book. And then you have a comma, and then available at, and then your colon or semicolon. And then you have the actual URL of where you accessed it from. So the URL doesn't need to be on a second line. It would normally continue on 2 spaces after your semicolon, but the reason that it is here is because it's too long to fit on 1 line. So if it was a shorter one, it would just go straight after it. Don't use a bit.ly URL here. Make sure you use the full URL. Okay, so then for your in-text reference, it's just naturopathic product database, proprietary limited, and the year. Now, you've probably noticed here that this one's got an A on it, and then the next one underneath it, which is another NPOD one, has a B. Now, the reason for this is because if you have a look, all your NPOD references are all going to be naturopathic product database, proprietary limited, 2014. So how do you differentiate between one page and another, even though they're by the same, I guess you could say, author? And that's with the A and the B. So what you have to do is you first have to get them all onto your reference list. Oh, sorry, I hate this computer. Get them all onto your reference list, get them all into alphabetical order. So in this case, they're going to be alphabetical order by the name of the supplement. And then you're going to go through and label them A, B, C, D, E. So the first one alphabetically, which in this example is the Bioceuticals D3, is going to be A. And then the next one is going to be B. So you put that A or B, whatever the letter designator is, directly after the year, but still within the year's brackets. So that's at the end of your assignment in the reference section, you do that. And then when you have your in-text referencing, you also include it there. So they know when they see the in-text reference that you're referring to that particular entry in your reference list at the end. The other time you would use this is if you have got more than one book or more than one journal article by the same author, and all the other details are the same, or yeah, if they're by the same author, exactly same author or authors, then again you would need the A or B if they're published in the same year, just so that people reading it can differentiate between the different entries in your reference list. All right, so just for your standard websites, it's just the author of the website, comma, and then the year, the copyright year, full stop, page title in italics, and then you put retrieved from. So for this example, we've got from the WebMD website, and the article was called Basilar Migraines. So we've got the author, which is WebMD LLC, comma, the year in brackets, full stop, the title in italics, full stop, and then retrieve from and the URL. So again, like the NPOD one, normally the URL would just continue along on the same line as the retrieve from. You don't need to start it on a new line, but this one's just too long, so it's done that automatically. Now with websites, sometimes it will say who it's copyrighted to, and that might be an organisation like it is in this case, WebMD. But I've noticed on some websites, for example, I think it's either Merck or eMedicine, one of those, each article actually has an author's name attributed to it. So in that case, you would use the author's name, not the actual owner of the website. So that's just one thing to watch out for. And then the in-text reference for your website is just who the author is or who it's copyrighted to, comma, and then the year. So nice and straightforward. All right, so moving on to journal articles. So these are very similar to your books. So again, you'll see you've got your author in the same format, the year. Now this time the title of the article is not italicized. The title of the journal is. So that's a really important thing that you need to be aware of. Make sure that you italicize the journal name, not the article name. So you'll see that that's all there. So and then this number here is the what do they call it? Like the edition or the issue number. And then this particular one, it's got S because it was a supplement. So supplement pages, I just copied these out of some assignments that I'd done. And so the in-text referencing, again, just like with the books. So you've got author, comma, year, comma, pages. So then we get to two authors, again, just like your books. So one author, then the other author, and then all the rest of your details. Now you'll see with this first one, it's only got the 17, but the second one's got the 20 and then the 3. That's because this one has both an edition and an issue number. So, or a volume and issue, I think it is, volume and issue number. So that's why that's like that. Notice there's no page number written in, no, as in P in there, it's only down here in the in-text reference. Now you might be wondering what this is here, this DOI blah, blah, blah. Basically, it's an electronic reference number. So if you're obtaining your article from an online database, a lot of the time they will have this DOI, and you'll actually see that in the citation details, or at the top of your journal article. It will have all of this information that you need here to correctly reference it, and the DOI will be included there. If a DOI is given on the article, you must include it in your reference. If it's not there, don't stress about it. You don't have to create it. It's just if it's there, use it. If it's not, disregard. All right, so then down here, again, we've got one with 3 or more authors. So this one's got quite a few authors. So in the reference list or your bibliography, you list all the authors as they appear. And then again, this one's got the DOI. And with your in-text referencing, just like with your books that have 3 or more authors, the first time you refer to it, you must list all of the authors. And then the second and each subsequent time you refer to it, you just do the first author and then the et al. So that's pretty much it in a nutshell. Occasionally, you know, you'll come across something that isn't a book, a journal, or a website. For example, it might be like a practitioner leaflet or a government brochure or something. But if you sort of stick to these guidelines, or if in doubt, go back to, not that one, go back to this one. And you'll find it will be in there somewhere, but it's just like 30 odd pages you have to wade through, which is a bit painful. So that's pretty much how you do it. So now that you know how and what the basic template and format is, I'm going to show you a really cool shortcut. So if I can go back to here. So if I use Google Chrome for my web browser. I know there are others like Internet Explorer and Firefox and all of that. But this is just what I use, and so I'm just going to show you what I use because I know how to do it. I haven't bothered to stuff around to find out how to do this with others. So basically, if you go into your Google page, and then up here you'll see, or you don't even have to, you can do this from any page, you'll see on your Chrome toolbar this thing called apps. So you click on that and it will bring you to this page. And then you click on Web Store and it'll bring you to this page. The other option is just Google Chrome Web Store. And then in your little search box here, just type bibliography and it's going to bring you up a whole bunch of apps or extensions. I don't know what the difference between an app and an extension is, but basically all these little add-on things that you can add onto your toolbar. You can see I've got lots of little add-on things on mine. That's going to make it really easy to reference. So the one that I use is this one here called AutoBib, and it's a bibliography generator. So I'll show you how that works. So you can do this from any web page at all. It doesn't matter. So once you've installed it, which you just do by, you go back to the web store and you click on, if you didn't have it installed, it would say free like this because it's free. And then just follow the prompts and it will install it on your toolbar. And this is the little, up here, up the top right, this is the little icon that it puts. So you're on any old website, doesn't matter, and you want to get your reference details for your book. So hang on, I'll just pick this one up. So again, we're just going to use clinical naturopathic medicine because I've got the book sitting right here. So what you do is you click on that, on the little icon, and this will pop up and it says type ISBN, hit enter. I know, pretty tricky, hey? So just put your cursor in and then we type in the ISBN. So for this book, it's 9780-7295-41923 and hit enter. And then you wait, not for very long. And look at that, it spits out the reference, the bibliographic details in all these different formats. It's awesome. So APA, this is the one that we need to use here. So all you do is click on it. See, if you just hover over it, it says click to copy, so click. Sometimes it'll jump. So I just click again just to make sure. Then you go into your Word document. All right, so we'll just go down here where there's nothing. And you just go right click paste, or you can do Control V, and look at that. It spits it out, all done, perfect. How easy is that? Oh, I love it. So the only downside is you can only do it with books. And just in case you're wondering what an ISBN is, you probably know, but every book that's published is given, it's like an international bibliography number or something like that. But every book that's published is given a unique ISBN, and you can usually find on the back cover down the bottom near the barcode. So just find the barcode on your book and it'll have an ISBN, and they're usually 10 or 13 digits long. So that's the really easy way to do your textbooks, or not just textbooks, but any book. But unfortunately, you can't do that with journal articles. I'll just go back to this screen so you can see me again. Unfortunately, oh, I'm a bit close, sorry. Unfortunately, you can't use things like AutoBib for your journal articles. But there is another really handy thing that you can use, and that's a program called Zotero. I won't go into Zotero here. I've already done another video on that. Basically what Zotero is, it's kind of like Evernote, but way better. I use it to store all my information, so all my notes, any references, any information that I come across that I think I may want to refer back to this, or I might want to read this again later, I save it into Zotero. I'll just quickly bring it up actually, hang on. I'll go back to screen share. Okay, all right, so I'm going to show you this again. I'll just shrink these down. Okay, so this is Zotero here. Just got to wait a minute, my laptop's a bit slow. So yeah, I use this to save everything into it. So I save all my journal articles, any interesting websites, documents, all sorts of things, right? So if we go down here on the left, you can see these are all my folders that I have everything saved in. So I'll find one that I know has some journal articles. Here we go. All right, so here are some journal articles that I've saved for a previous assignment. So you can see when you select it here in the center panel, it brings up all your bibliographic information here. So if you've saved a journal article into here and then you use it in your assignment and you really can't be bothered writing, you know, going through and looking everything up to write out the bibliography or your reference list entry, all you do is right click and then create bibliography from item, click on that. You select what style citation you want. So we want the APA because that's what we have to use. Copy to clipboard. Okay, and then you open up your Word document and Control V. Look at that. How easy is that? Awesome. Even includes the DOI. So that's the other technique that I really like. But I won't go any further into Zotero. As I said, I've done another video for that. So if you just have a look up at and find my other video, it will go right through Zotero, how I use it, why I love it, and how it will just make your whole study life so much easier. But the main reason I got it was not so much to organise my study notes, but because I was getting to the point where I was reading a lot of really interesting journal articles, and I thought I'm going to want these again later when I'm back in when I'm practicing, and I'm going to want to be able to find them really easily. And I couldn't really find a better way of doing it. I was finding that even though I had everything saved on the computer, it's really hard to find the information that you want because you can only search the file name, whereas with this you can just put in a search term, and if it's written anywhere within the article, it will pop up. But anyway, that's another subject. So that's pretty much how to reference APA style in a nutshell for how ACNT like it. I hope that helps. But yeah, it's pretty straightforward. Just kind of, once you get your head around the basic template of it, you just plug everything in where it needs to go. So that's it. I hope it helped. Thanks very much.